Hello, gamers. Your ears are in the right place. You're listening to I Never Cast for this episode 11, and we are a podcast dedicated to bringing forth discussions or debates, especially in this episode, on controversial gaming topics and hopefully putting them to rest. Today, we're going to be discussing the Google Stadia and whether it is a piece of garbage or if it's actually worth buying. So we'll get to that. We'll start with the introductions. My name is Kelthar, and thanks for tuning in today. We're live on Twitch for those that aren't aware of that. But so you can tune in to us there at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays, every Monday. Okay? And joining us again for the podcast, we have Erebus. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks. Doing well. We also have returning again. We have Athricus. What's up?
Yo,
welcome.
Yo, thanks.
Ready to debate your socks off today?
That's it. I got my notes all ready to go. I think I'm done.
Oh, excellent. And joining us for the first time on the podcast, we have Quasimodo. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me. No problem.
I'm happy for you to be here, to be the perhaps the only person actually defending the Google Stadia, but we'll see. We'll get to that because
I hope you're still happy to have me by the end of this.
No, we will be for sure. But before we get into all that, I just wanted to say that we're finally on Apple Podcasts. It's been weeks and weeks. Yes, it's very exciting. So we're finally on the biggest podcast network. As I said, we're always live on Twitch TV every Monday at 9 p.m. And if you can't catch us live, you can always tune in on YouTube as well, on our YouTube channel. And we also are on most major podcast networks. And I don't think we're awaiting any more confirmation from any of them. So, yeah, you should tune in every week if you can. So, before we get into the heated debate, what have you guys been up to? So, Erebus, what have you been up to since we recorded last week?
Not a lot of gaming. Still playing Pokemon every now and then. But I am proud, very proud. Look at that smile from Athricus.
Yes.
We have played every Battle Royale game and achieved a victory, at least one in every Battle Royale game. But we both put in probably 100 hours. I didn't finish. We both put in 100 hours to Warzone. And we took a break from the game for 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we came back a couple days ago, and we achieved victory. And we lost our minds and stayed up way too late. Had a couple drinks to celebrate, and it was a good time. So pretty happy about that, and excited for the DLC for Pokemon to drop. I believe to 2 days, right? 2 days.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. So look forward to that as well.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's
thanks, man.
It's obviously a very hard game to win if you have that many hours, and you've won in Fortnite.
Or we just suck, like immensely bad.
But you've won in Apex and Fortnite and in different battle royales before.
We've won multiple times in Apex, Fortnite, and we have not a third of the time in Apex. Call of Duty is a very difficult, in my opinion. People might say otherwise, but I find it very difficult to be successful at. So it was nice as aging gamers, 30 plus year olds were able to achieve. We're able to beat the 12-year-olds for one time.
No, for sure. Well, that's good. Yes, I realize the screen is messed up here. I'm going to fix this very quickly here. Athricus, what have you been up to lately? Besides winning,
Same old.
Besides winning battle royales.
Yeah, that's really the highlight of my life right there.
Not your week, your life.
In my life, yeah, for sure. Nothing. First day back at work today. Pretty lame.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Other than that, no. Been really thinking about this Stadia thing.
So is that what you did at work all day? You're just looking up everything horrible about the Stadia?
Literally did nothing all day but look up stuff on Stadia. Yeah,
nice.
Great.
No, well, hopefully you found some good facts there. And Quasimodo, you're brand new to the podcast, so just tell us a bit about yourself and like what games you like to play and stuff like that.
Yeah, so growing up, I was a PlayStation person. I loved WWE wrestling games, the WWE 2K series. Here Comes the Pain was a classic. The earlier SmackDown versus Raws. Like when I was like really young, N64, WWF No Mercy.
No Mercy.
Like,
Oh man, that game.
And
Wicked game.
it was such a good game and an excellent story mode in that game. But yeah, wrestling was what kind of brought me into the video game world. And then I love handhelds, especially Pokemon. But with the launch of Stadia, I've been getting back into it. And so I just recently finished Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
Nice.
And I've been playing through Red Dead Redemption 2. And then recently, me and my buddy have been playing. It's a game created just for Stadia called Get Packed, and it's a fun kind of couch co-op game. Play with your buddies. You're moving stuff out of a house. There's a time limit.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Erebus and Athricus, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. See if he comes back there.
The first technical difficulties.
Yes, for sure. All right, for those on audio podcasts, we'll be back in 1 sec. And we're back. Sorry about that technical issue. So, Quasimodo, pick it up where you left off.
You were talking about the new game. You were talking about the game
That Get
designed for
Packed, I
Stadia.
think?
Game with your friend, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, just like a couch co-op, you each take on the responsibility of a mover, and you got to try to get as much furniture out of the house into the truck and sent off as possible. It's really fun, just kind of like arcade style of game. It gets harder and harder the more you go along, and to me, I'm just really trying it out because it's one of the first ones that Stadia has had made strictly for Stadia.
Exclusive, yeah.
And so trying to be strong in my support.
Right. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard about that game, actually. It's similar to Overcooked, I think. Have you played that one? This is not going well.
Uh-oh.
And once again, we shall return. And we're back again. I think we've got the problem solved. We should be okay. All right. So we were talking about, is it called Get Packed?
It's a good couch co-op game that Stadia has available. And I believe it's a pro one now. So if anyone did want to go try it out, it's one of the games you can claim for the 1 month trial of pro. And it's a lot of fun to play with a buddy you just have over.
Sweet.
Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, I think I was asking, is it like Overcooked? Have you played that game?
I haven't, but my friend said it was similar.
Okay. I think from videos I saw and stuff, it seems very similar. It's just like hectic mayhem, and you're always trying to just race the clock and get
right?
Yeah, it's just chaos, and it's impossible to do everything perfectly because it just goes nuts. It's a similar concept, I guess. Eh?
Yeah, and where everything is so chaotic, you can kind of just keep trying to do better and better, get more stars and stuff like that. So
right. Yeah.
Right now, they have 30 levels to it you can work through, and they said they're going to be adding on more as time goes on, so it'll be cool to see.
Nice. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so again, welcome to the podcast. Happy that you're here to join the debate, and like I said, hopefully we don't gang up on you too much today.
Good.
Yeah, so I guess I'm completely thrown off here. I think, did we cover what everyone's playing? I think we did. Athricus, we got you.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
Yeah. As for me, I haven't played a whole lot this past week. I've actually jumped back into Slay the Spire. That game is absolutely incredible. I think, is Erebus, are you the only one that's actually played that?
What's that?
Slay the Spire. Remember, I think you played it for a little bit.
I played it a little bit. I really liked it on Xbox or Game Pass. I think it was. I tried it on.
Yeah, on PC.
It was really good, but the I couldn't. I think it's something. If I had it on Switch, I think I'd enjoy it more. It seems like more of that type of kind of pick up and play and short burst type game. But it was fun for what I.
Yeah, it's basically a roguelike game, but with cards. So it's super fun. Highly recommend it. And I also jumped back into the Witcher 3. So I'm only like 20 hours in first playthrough, but it's a pretty solid game. Is Witcher on Google Stadia?
I don't think so.
What a surprise.
Question,
We'll get to that. Okay, so before we get into that debate, quickly, we had some big news this week. We had first of all, let's get into the news. We have the PlayStation 5 conference was this week. Was it on Monday? Tuesday? What day is it today? Today is Monday. What day was that? What day was it on? Every day just seems to mold into each other lately. What day was it?
The PS5 reveal? It was... Is
that like the 12th
Oh
or
my
something?
God.
I completely forget. This
it was a few
COVID-19
days
stuff
ago.
is just throwing me off completely with days.
So can I talk about the PS5 reveal?
You certainly can.
Or are you talking? Okay. So they revealed the PS5. I thought it was terrible, like absolutely awful. The thing looks like someone posted on Reddit a picture of their vacuum cleaner. It looked exactly the same, like one of those like futuristic like vacuum cleaners that goes out and then brings itself back and charges itself and goes around like a robot. Looked like complete shit. The controller looks cool. I'll give them that, but the system looks bad. The games they showed for me were pretty underwhelming. The Spider-Man game looked kind of cool, but for the most part, very underwhelmed with the conference. I think it didn't speak to what kind of the hardcore gaming audience would want, but maybe that's what, maybe they're going after the scrubs that are casual. But I wasn't impressed at all. Like, it didn't sway. I was originally really excited to see kind of what they were going to show up against the Xbox, but I was disappointed.
That's funny because go ahead, Quasi.
I was gonna say it's too bad there's not a gaming platform without a console. Like, you don't have to have something ugly sitting on your TV stand.
The Twitch chat has been raided by some more of our hardcore gaming friends, so you are in for a treat to defend the Stadia here, my friend. I'm pretty sure. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they say. But
yeah,
this is why I'm staying in Discord, and I'm like, you guys can moderate.
Yeah. It's funny because the overwhelming consensus for the most part, I thought, was that the PS5 reveal was pretty solid. Like, not the actual console itself, but in regards to the games. Like, most people, the games they wanted to see, they didn't get to see like God of War and Uncharted games like that. But like a lot of the big heavy hitters were shown. And if I was like, I'm not a big Sony fan. Like, I've always had Xbox, but like I personally thought it was pretty good. I didn't have a major issue with it at all.
I will have to agree to disagree on this one. I just think where we are with PC gaming and how far it's come along and the development time they've had on these consoles, I was expecting to be, the new Unreal, like the engine they showed is cool. Like that game with that chick that's like flying through the air doing stuff. I think they showed more of that. What is that game? I don't even know what it was called.
It was just
kind of showing the new.
Yeah.
Is it? I thought it was an actual game. Okay. But anyways, they were showing off kind of more of the physics and the stuff. But it's all stuff PC is going to be able to emulate and do better, I think. So, and I also heard, or I think they're prepping us for, I don't think they've announced the pricing, but I know we disagree on this, Kelthar, but it sounds like they're getting close to that 1,000 bomb for the pricing. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like that was kind of the leak that came out, that it's going to be approaching that territory, which, like, for $1,000 for a console,
there's no way. I don't believe that for a second. I'm pretty sure that was a placeholder randomly put in for Sweden. I read that somewhere, and Play Asia showed it for 600, and like,
well, how much?
Just
like,
putting,
what's a Sweebuck in Canadian? Like, what? How much? What's the difference?
Sweebuck. That's not but it's
or
it was
euro, or
equivalent to 1,000 US. I think is what it was going for. But like that's just a placeholder. Like they can't go above $5.99. They can't. Like no one's gonna. That's gonna alienate.
Above $5.99. They will go above $5.99. We'll talk about this in a few weeks when they announce the pricing.
Yeah.
But
either way, Xbox is going to be less, and I'm happy about that. But yeah, Athricus or Quasi, did you have a chance to catch the conference?
No, I didn't catch the conference. I saw what it looked like, but that's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the same here. I just saw the photos before. I think I read more about the conference leading up to it, and then after I didn't see too much about it, that it felt not worth looking more into.
Right on. Yeah, so that's the biggest news. I know the Xbox One is coming in a couple weeks. I think it's July 1st, so I'm really excited for that one. That's going to be... They need to knock it out of the park. They need to be able to compete with Sony, and like I said, I think the Sony showcase was fine, but Xbox certainly needs to compete and show a lot of good first-party games like Halo and different games like that.
I think what Xbox is doing and Sony has yet to show, I think, is the cross-play functionality in terms of the Xbox Play Anywhere, and that they're trying to make everything kind of seamless with PC. I think that's where they have the edge. Like the Game Pass has been a huge hit. You can buy a game, get a game on Game Pass, or get their subscription, have access to both games on both consoles, or buy their Play Anywhere titles where you buy it once and then can play it on either console. So they're not like kind of forcing you to use their system.
Yeah.
I've yet to see what PlayStation is going to do to really combat that.
Yeah, they do have PlayStation Now. It's like you can play PlayStation games on PC and stuff.
Okay, I actually didn't know about that. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The only problem is you need a PlayStation controller to do it.
Of course, yeah.
But,
why not? Why wouldn't
but it's cool. But you can play games like I'm pretty sure like God of War's on it and like a bunch of exclusives, Last of Us and different games like that. So I'm tempted to get a PlayStation controller just to do that. But maybe down the road. All right. I think we're ready to get into the topic of the week. So as stated at the top of the cast, we're going to be debating the Google Stadia, and I just called it the Google Stadia again. It makes me sound really old. Google Stadia. So in case anyone is not familiar, I know like I'm personally not well versed in it. I had to do a lot of research in the last couple of days just to get caught up to speed, and I think I know enough about it now to have at least an opinion. But before we get into all that, what exactly is Stadia and how does it work? So Quasimodo, do you want to kind of take the reins on that?
Yeah, so Google Stadia, it's Google's attempt to disrupt the gaming world. It's supposed to be a play anywhere on anything kind of platform. It's all done through streaming, and you're supposed to be able to stream at 4K. But there has been a lot of hiccups in that. So if you are someone who, 4K gaming is a priority for you, you'd probably have some frustrations with Stadia. But yeah, it's supposed to, you could stream it on your TV through a Chromecast. You can play it on your laptop, your desktop computer. You can play it on your phone. They just added buttons on the screen for mobile so that you don't have to connect a controller to your mobile phone. And it's all done through like Google's data networks, because they do have such a large base for collaboration and streaming and stuff like that, as you see through other Google products. I think they've done some things really well, and I think their biggest hurdle is that they oversold it at the start. But essentially, yeah, it's supposed to be game streaming, so that all you need really is your Stadia controller, and you press your Stadia button, and you'll be able to pull up your stream and join in and start playing.
Yeah, and all of that sounds really cool. It does. Like the fact you can fire it up, you don't need to download any games. You just it's like Netflix basically, except for games. You just fire up a game on anything, whether it's a tablet, a phone, TV, anything, and you just, yeah, as long as you have your controller, you're good, right? So that all sounds great. right?
Yeah, and like it's a fair price point in Canada. It's $11.99 a month. The controller is $89. A Chromecast Ultra, which is what you need to play on your TV, is a $90 value. So that compared to buying your $599 to $1,000 consoles, it balances out. Especially like I would never describe myself as a hardcore gamer. To me, this platform would be a lot more appealing than trying to convince my significant other to allow me to spend $600 for an eyesore on our TV stand.
Fair enough. You mentioned it was $11.99 Canadian, because we're all Canadian here, as far as I know. What exactly comes with that $11.99? Like, what do you get with that?
Right. So Stadia has a free tier. So when you sign up anyways, you get a free month. Right now they're doing a $10 coupon, so you can get a $10 off any game, which right now I think Stacked is there for $15. So you pay $5. It is a fun game. If you and buddy at the house want to try it out, I would highly recommend it. But yeah, you basically, at the paid level, you get the 4K. At the free level, I believe the best you're going to get is 1080.
I think that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the 4K, but then also you get access to pro games that you can claim, and then as long as you continue to pay for your pro subscription, you have access to those pro games.
And how many pro games are there? And can you claim them all at once?
Yeah, you can claim them all, but they like some are there for a few months, then they go away. For me, like I'm a Stadia founder, so I have had since that's what they called us. I got a card even telling me that's what I am. Yeah, so I've claimed every game since the platform has launched. And typically they're releasing like 2 or 3 as pro every month.
Okay. So just to clarify, if you claim a game and you still maintain your subscription, those games can still get rotated out and you can't play them anymore. Am I right in saying that?
No, they get rotated out in terms of, if a game got rotated out last month, now when you sign up as pro, you obviously can't get that game. But since I claimed it when it was pro, I still have access to it.
And as long as you're subscribed, you can still play it. But if you cancel your subscription, then you can't play that anymore.
Yeah, if you resubscribe, you'll still have access.
You'll get it back. Fair enough. Okay, it's similar to the Xbox games with Gold. I think you get like 2 or 3 free games a month, and as long as you have an Xbox Live subscription, you can play. But if you cancel your Xbox Live, then you don't have them anymore. So it's very, very similar. Very similar.
100%. Right now, I got 24 games claimed. I've been paying the $11.99 since November. So.
Yeah, and to me, the price is not outrageous for what you're getting. Like, it's just you're paying $11.99 just to use the service. You get 4K gaming, at least as advertised. You get 4K gaming, and there's some, and you get a fair amount of games, right? Like I said, you can claim. Was it off the bat? You can claim like, is it 10, 15 somewhere in there, am I right in saying that?
Oh, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, of course, the games might not be you might not be interested in those games, but there's a good chance that in those games there's probably something that you'll like to play. So, yeah,
exactly. And like, I think where Stadia is fumbling is that they're trying to be a major player when they don't have the tools or skill set yet to be at that level. But they continue to advertise themselves as if they are. So me, being a more casual gamer, I like to game with some buddies. I love playing through like Tomb Raider here and there. It's good, like, unwind. Am I hopping on like Destiny every day and getting on my headset and doing campaigns with people and stuff like that? Not all the time, here and there. If I was really invested in that. maybe Stadia wouldn't be the platform for me, but I think it has a spot in the conversation, at least for a certain type of gamer.
Right. And I think you nailed it right there, right? Like if you're more of a casual gamer and you just kind of want to unwind and play with buddies, yeah, Stadia is great. But if they're advertising themselves as being a hardcore gaming system, saying like, yeah, you don't need Xbox and all that, like just play with us. Yeah, I think there's a few issues there.
Yeah, like my buddy was living away for a month. He got the free pro, like the 1 month trial, and two of us while he was away, that was how we stayed connected. We kept logging on Stadia and playing, and it was super easy for him to join. He's a PlayStation person, but the good thing about Stadia is they let you use any controller, not with the Chromecast Ultra, unfortunately, because I find playing on a laptop not as good as playing on the Chromecast Ultra. But you can Bluetooth a controller to a laptop and play Stadia that way. And that's what he did, and we were able to have successful gameplay with each other. And it was really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like fun, right? Let's talk about initial impressions for a second. So obviously you're a founder. I only downloaded it for the first time today, and Athricus, you tried it out as well. Am I correct?
Yep.
And you played, and Quasimodo, for audio listeners, just showed his big Stadia logo on his phone, just right up to the camera.
They gave us stickers as founders.
That's what they gave you. That's awesome. Yeah. So, Athricus, we'll start with you. What did you think of Superhot when you fired it up?
Superhot probably wasn't the best game to fire up. I didn't have a whole lot of time. I was writing down all the things I hate about Stadia. There was no time to actually play. But from what I did play, I mean, there was obviously issues. Again, it's not the best game because you're literally standing still most of the time. But just moving around and playing, there was obvious issues that I was finding.
Right. Yeah, a few people in chat are asking now, how was the delay? How'd you find that?
I was playing on a pretty good. I was pretty close to my modem. Everything was pretty straightforward. Like not best case scenario, but what would be classified as a good, certainly a good distance away from my router and in a place that has steady internet and all that stuff. So the conditions were pretty good, and the latency, it was playable, but it certainly wasn't ideal.
Not ideal. Okay.
No.
So, because Superhot is pretty twitchy, right? Like I know the time slows down when you stop moving and stuff, but like you kind of need to, not have latency in a shooter, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not super crazy as far as a shooter because you can kind of just line up your shot and then fire away.
Sure.
But definitely some delay. I mean, I could get into it, but
yeah, we'll get into the specifics in a second. And Erebus, you haven't had the chance to fire it up yet?
Not on my own device. I played it at Quasimodo's residence a while ago. That was more early on. That was months ago. So probably not a fair impression. I did notice the quality was okay. I noticed a bit of pixelation. Like it wasn't as smooth as I thought it was going to be. Now I don't know if that was just his connection that I was observing at the time or something. Like it was passable, but just not compared to what I'm used to. Like I don't know if that was the streaming or kind of like the codec or whatever, like the interference, or if it was the Wi-Fi or if it was Google itself. But it certainly wasn't anything that I would say is a 4K image or and the frame rate was standard and everything. So like, yeah, it was passable. It was cool that there was no console. It was all going through a cloud service or whatever. But yeah, that was I wasn't overwhelmed.
Okay.
When Erebus. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. When he was over, I I set mine to limit up to 720, so I don't have the 4K turned on.
Okay,
Gotcha.
I have 4K TV. I got the Chromecast Ultra. Got Google Wi-Fi, so I have all the tools to do the 4K. But for me, just in terms of like using up, like my internet, I was just like, no, I'm fine. I'll max it out at 720. I don't really care too much if it's a little pixelated.
Right.
and that's to me that's unacceptable. Like I would, if I was playing a game that with a bunch of pixelation, I'd be drove nuts. But
See, that's
again,
the difference between a hardcore gamer and a casual gamer. I just want like a thrill, whereas you want like the immersive experience.
sure.
Well, that's your opinion. We can debate that. That's I would argue that the casual gamer. I'm a casual movie watcher. I'm certainly not a movie enthusiast by any means, but I would never watch a movie at 720p, ever. I would.
Really?
Oh no. And I don't think that's because I'm a hardcore. I just like whatever I'm experiencing, whenever I'm experiencing media in whatever fashion.
I think if you're in an ideal setting, right? If you're at home or at a friend's house or at a movie theater, yeah, you expect high quality. But if you're sitting around a campfire or something, then you probably
we pay to go to a movie theater to experience. If I went to a movie theater and I paid my 10 or I guess like $50 now for a movie to go to a movie and watch it, and it was not optimal quality, like I went to an IMAX movie or something, right? I would be not happy. So if I'm paying a monthly subscription service for something, I would expect it to be the maximum. Like it would be. I would expect.
You're the kind of guy, if there's like a black dot on the screen at the theater, you're gonna like ask for a gift card on the way out.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I'm that person. Oh, yes.
No, for sure. Let's just talk about a few of the good things, and I emphasize the word "few" here.
It'll be a short segment.
It'll be a very short segment. Okay, so it can play on several devices. It can play on your TV, phone, tablet. Lots of different places. That's cool, right? There's no disputing that. The fact you can play Red Dead Redemption, Destiny 2, all these big name games, or at least a few big name games, on these different platforms is super cool, right? Like, do you guys think that's cool, or is that kind of like a gimmick in your opinion?
So what can you play Stadia on?
So your TV. Yeah, go ahead.
Has Chrome. Any laptop that has Chrome. Any TV with a Chromecast Ultra, and any Android mobile device.
So it's the only differentiator is the phone, because like I can do all that with consoles or I guess I don't know if consoles, but I can definitely do that with my PC. I can stream it. I can use a Steam Link or whatever and get it on any screen in my house if I want to.
Yeah, for me, like right now, I got a Chromecast Ultra in my living room. I'll be playing. My wife will come and say, me and my friend are going to watch The Bachelor.
You go on your phone.
So, yeah, well, no, I just pause the game, go upstairs, press the button on my controller, and it'll link up to that TV and pick up right where I left off.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's certainly a cool feature. I don't think there's any disputing that. Like, that's a pretty cool feature for sure. Another cool thing is you don't need to download the games. You can stream and play them instantly. Now, some people, this is kind of more controversial, right? Because I personally would rather just download a game and just be able to play it, like the way Game Pass operates, so that you don't need to worry about latency and all that stuff. Because once you download the game, like if you download Tomb Raider, like Quasimodo's playing, then you just have the game and you can play it and not have any issues with pixelation or delay or anything like that. But that is advertised as a key feature, right? So what do you guys think about that, being able to download games basically like Netflix, right? And you just launch a game instantly.
Oh, I can download anything instantly on my internet, but like I understand that I'm paying I don't agree again with that model. Works for some people. Like I know I think he's in the stream right now, Demaxis. His brother is on internet that belongs in a bomb shelter in Kuwait. Like it does not, it moves at like a kilobyte a second. It's terrible. So for him, being able to stream something because they would take them days to download it. But that is the vast minority. Most people at this point in today's society have a stable internet connection. Most people have a stable internet connection that can download a game in a reasonable amount of time. And I also think that if Google Stadia is using that as a marketing thing, like I think the future with what Elon Musk is doing, with this, like they're trying to go for this kind of global internet speed type thing. Like I think it's moving in that direction where everybody in the world is going to have a fast internet connection. So I don't think that's for me, it's not a real selling point of the system, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd also like to add one thing.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think when Borderlands was finally brought out on Stadia, it actually wasn't running the most current version of Borderlands.
Ooh. That's not good.
No.
And
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to speak to that, I think Google has not been successful in its pitch of this platform to developers. And I think, a bit of that there, like, the team that made it said, yeah, eventually we are going to move it to this. But even there's several games that are coming out later in the year that they're just planning to launch on Stadia a few months later. You'll be able to play it on I'm such a bad gamer. What is it called? Stream, something.
Steam.
And PlayStation, Xbox, and stuff first, and then it'll come out on Stadia a little bit later. That I think it's still kind of, Google's pitching hard for people to do it, but I think for game developers, they're still interested in that prime console experience. At moving and prepping everything for a Stadia platform, it's kind of more extra work that they still haven't seen the value in yet.
No, fair enough. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, like, what I think the failure of Stadia is how they promote themselves early on, and how they've sold themselves going forward.
Did you just call Stadia a failure?
No. I would not say that. I say where they have failed. Even the most successful people fail at things.
Fair enough.
But,
fair enough.
But yeah, I would say where they failed was how they announced it versus how they rolled it out. And I would say their ability to get major players to come to the table.
Yeah, fair enough. Another pro that I found was that there is a free tier subscription. Now, I don't believe they started with a free tier subscription, but they did end up getting one. So basically, if you buy a game outright, then you can continue to play it without a subscription. Now, when it launched, though, if you bought like Borderlands 3, does that mean you couldn't play it unless you still paid the $11.99 a month, even if you bought it?
Yes, because they only have the pro version, because they wanted all of us Founders and Premier Edition people to have, like, to test out basically the top quality version of Stadia.
Right. But still, if you buy a $60 game, you should be able to play it. Right, and that's the way it is now, and I'm glad they fixed that. But man, that's I could see that getting a lot of flack.
Yeah, and it got a lot of flack too because we basically paid to be beta users of this platform, where we had to pay like $200 whatever for the Founders Edition, and then we got a half-baked platform compared to what they advertised it to be. And I think there was a lot of initial disappointment then that made people go, this isn't what you sold to us. I think for those who have did to the platform, they've been able to get past that. And they've checked their ambitions a bit, and they're focused more now on growing catalog and creating games that are Stadia exclusive, rather than being the gaming platform of the future.
Right. Now, down the road, they could be very well the platform of the future, right? I just think they came out a little bit too early with what they're trying to do. So, like, in 5-10 years, yeah, maybe streaming will probably be the way to go, but yeah. One other thing that I'll mention here, and I guess it can kind of turn into a negative with Athricus's point about Borderlands 3 not being fully updated, but the cool thing about Stadia is that you don't ever have to update a game. So how many times have you guys been about to launch Warzone in Call of Duty, and then there's like a 30 gig patch? Right, that happens a lot. So, right, and there's all the memes about the COD is now your entire hard drive, right? Like, so that is a good thing about Stadia. You can always launch the game instantly, no patching. It's just maybe the game's not always fully up to date. That's the only problem. Right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Like maybe Athricus. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. Athricus has more situations, but outside of Borderlands, like I haven't heard a whole lot of cases where a game wasn't the most up to date version.
Yeah, that was just the one game that I heard of as well. It was just a side note, nothing serious.
Yeah, and all the keyboard warriors on the forums always use that as the as the example.
Right.
Just calling you a keyboard warrior, Athricus.
Yeah. more of a concern that it might be not just a one-time thing. But you know, nothing, no biggie.
Right.
I'll let you have that one. It's all right.
In regards to pros, that's pretty much all I got, and I have a full list of cons. Athricus, did you have anything else on your list that was good about the platform?
No, my only pro is that they finally released a free tier, and that's literally it.
The pro for me, if it was done, if it evolves into something actually good, is the fact that you can go over to your friend's house and just have like LAN parties and stuff. Like we all lug around our desktop PCs, and it's a bit of a annoyance and a hassle. Like if we had LAN parties with each other and stuff. So I can see like in person Stadia being pretty cool for that piece. Just being able to kind of just bring it over to your friends and have 3 screens and just kind of go. But so I'll get that pro. I've seen like pictures of that on Reddit and different things of people having those kind of experiences. So I can see that being cool. The problem is the list of cons that I'm sure we're about to go through.
Yeah. I'll just reiterate my point, I suppose. I certainly think the technology is absolutely fascinating and phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the concept in general is absolutely phenomenal. Like this will eventually probably take over if they can fix the hiccups, but there's just so many hiccups.
Yeah.
There is, and
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to 2 points. With the free tier, I definitely think that's a huge pro. I love that you brought that up. Because like for me, I got another buddy who's fairly casual gamer. He doesn't really care to pay for the pro and have access to 4K and all that. So he just bought Destiny 2 outright. All he needs then is his Gmail account. So Quasimodo at gmail.com, let's say, just logs in and he just starts playing. He didn't have to invest in a console or anything. It's a fun thing for us to do and to keep connected. I do really enjoy that. And that was something they sold up front that they didn't have at the initial rollout. I think, again, to what we're talking about in terms of like hiccups in the future, again, to me it all points back to the oversell that they did, where they did their like Stadia Connect event and or whatever it's called. Is it Stadia Connect or is it Nintendo Connect? Their like flagship event that they do where they like do their rollouts, but they did it and they were like, we're gonna have all this on the platform, and then we got it and it was like so yeah, I think that's where it's gotten like so much flack.
Yeah. And going back to Erebus's point too, you were saying like it'd be cool, like you're talking about the bulkiness of systems, bringing them around and PCs and all that. But like, I think it's 25 gigs an hour you use if you're streaming 4K gaming.
Yeah.
So can you imagine 4, 5, or 6 people like doing like a LAN of Destiny or something in the same house, eating up, like just soaking up that internet? That'd be like,
You could do it at my house. It'd be fine.
well, if we all had god tier internet, then maybe.
See, the problem is I don't have god tier internet. That's my argument. Is see, now I'm actually arguing for Stadia, and you're making me want to throw up. But my point is, most people now, I would assume, at least in our province, like the basic package is a gig down now. Like the basic package
in Newfoundland, yes,
like
but in the States they have a lot of.
I'm paying $90 a month or something for internet now. I canceled everything else. Like it's just a basic internet package, and that's what I have.
But in the States, like they have a lot of internet issues, and places around the world have caps too, right? Like we have unlimited cap, right? But places that do have metered internet.
Is streaming gaming big on caps, bandwidth caps?
25 gigs an hour for 4K gaming.
Gigs an hour. I think it was 3 years ago. I had a cap of 150 gigs. That's like what, 7 hours of gaming for the month.
That's healthy.
Yeah,
that's probably that. That was one of the reasons. Like I was reading all the stuff on that, and that's why I set mine to max out at like 720, because I was like, I don't want to kill my internet on this. And now we do have like an unlimited cap here, but Stadia's argument to that, just to defend them, was they said their hope is that it would be like when Netflix and Hulu and Prime came out, countries increased their cap to accommodate that demand, that their hope is streaming will become so popular that countries will adjust the cap to also accommodate that in the same way that you saw it with television streaming years ago.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
But again, go ahead.
The survey, I just looked it up just there. So they did a survey on PC Games Network. I don't even know, maybe that's not even a reliable source, but it sounds like it is. But they said 15% of people have a data cap. 15% of gamers have a data cap. So that translated in their survey or their demographic of 6 million gamers would be out of luck on Stadia. But I don't think that's really a huge. If it's only 15%, I mean that is 6 million people is a lot of people, but it doesn't mean, Stadia can appeal to the market if there's 85% of the market is there to go after. I don't think it's a big barrier for them. Oh my God, what is happening?
Stop it! Stop what you're doing.
Yeah,
you're changing sides.
I'm on Amazon.
No.
I'm gonna get it. I'm getting it right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the podcast now. I'm sold. No.
The other thing I was gonna say that's cool that I'm gonna say it wrong again. Erebus, whatever the heck it is. You say it once so it sticks in my head.
Erebus.
All right, we'll see if it sticks. Erebus and I both have Google Wi-Fi, their mesh system in our house, and Google loves to create within their ecosystem that Google Wi-Fi actually has like a Stadia feature. So whatever device I power up my controller, whether I join it here to my laptop or join it to my TV, the router will automatically pick up that device is connected to Stadia and set it as the priority device so that it's getting the best Wi-Fi connection in the house. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was another cool, like, clever thing on Google's part in rolling this out.
So to counter that, how much do those they're called Google Pucks, right? How much do those cost?
Oh, you get a router and then you get Pucks. The router connects to your modem. It really depends on the size house you have. I'm in a duplex. I just bought the router. Cost me $220. I really wanted it because I'm working from home now. #COVID-19. I just wanted to make sure I had a strong connection all around the house, and I wasn't getting that with my modem. In Mark's Purvis's case, he is, living large, and he needed the router, he needed pucks on all his floors. He probably had a bigger financial investment.
It was pushing $500. Yeah. Yeah.
So Quasimodo, you paid $220 for your internet, your Google setup with the routers and stuff, plus $200 for the founder. So you're over $420 already just from that stuff. Plus does that include the controller? Yeah. So you're still paying over $400 to get this to run optimally.
I would disagree with that.
I
wouldn't have internet.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. I'm bashing. I can't wait till you move to the con list so I can realign myself here. But I don't agree with that argument either. Like, I bought the Google Puck system for better Wi-Fi throughout my house for not even gaming related reasons. He bought the Puck system, yes, to improve his internet, but he would have had to do that if we convinced him to become a PC gamer or a console gamer, he would have had to do the same thing. So I wouldn't count that cost.
Yeah, but your PC stays in the same place. If you're trying to go all around the house to play and you can only play in one spot with the Stadia, then that's not really using the device to.
Yeah, but if part of his no, because if part of the appeal for him, if we're trying to convince him to PC game, then I'm going to be convincing him on Steam Link. I'm going to be convincing him on different things so that he can play throughout his house. And for him to be able to do that, he needs the better internet.
I will say I only got the Google Wi-Fi since COVID started. Months prior, I was playing Stadia fine without it.
Okay, fair enough. I will concede on that one. Let's see. Let's start with the games. First of all, this is a big issue that a lot of people talk about when it comes to Stadia. Do you guys want to take a guess at how many games currently, assuming that when I looked this up, this was up to date? Do you guys want to take a guess on how many games there are on Stadia?
30 games.
30, Erebus?
Yeah.
22.
Quasimodo, do you know this?
I would say I would lean more 45, 50.
Yeah. It's 48. 48 games. Okay.
I said earlier, I got 24 claimed in Pro, and I know there's some of that. So
yeah. So you have about half of them in Pro. 48 games, and you're paying $11.99 a month on when there's only a library of 48 games. I didn't get the exact numbers, but I think it's safe to say Xbox and PlayStation have at least 1,000, way more than that, with including indie titles and all that. So, what's your counter for that? Why would I give up playing on Xbox to go to something with less than 50 games?
I wouldn't say give up. Me right now, Stadia is more so an option rather than a replacement for gaming. I think for some, if that's the route you want to take, great. But would I look at a hardcore gamer and say, come on over to the red side. Once you come, you're never going back. Say goodbye to green and blue. And then whatever your PC logo looks like. No, I would never say that. But for me, let's say Red Dead Redemption 2, with the amount of gaming I play, my gosh, I've been taking away at that now for the last couple months. Same thing, Tomb Raider. That took me it's not a long game to get through if you were, sitting down every Saturday, 13 hours. But for me, it took 3 months. That library size now is good for the gaming style that I have. If you were a hardcore gamer, maybe investing more so in the free option and buying some games just so you could have that play anywhere kind of thing. That would probably be the route I would recommend. But I did say earlier, I think one of Stadia's failures is their inability to attract developers to have their games on the platform. What I think they ultimately should have done was at release have games that are Stadia exclusive. Like there's games you only play on PlayStation, games you only play on Xbox, Nintendo. That's why we all buy the Switch, so we can play our Pokemon and Mario shit and whatever. But Stadia didn't have that. They got Get Pack now. Like, great. But I think if they launched with more games like that, then they wouldn't have made so many people mad. But, there's still time. It's a large company. That's the cool thing. They are backed by Google. So Google said they're committed to this one because they are notorious for launching software and throwing it to the curb a few years later. But they made a statement. We are committed to Stadia, making this a reality, and we have a long-term vision for it. So, I'm optimistic as time goes on that we'll see more. I will say, like, by 2021, they were saying like they were going to have like 120 more games, I think, added or something.
They did say that, they are going to add a fair number of games for sure.
Yeah, so it's I do think they should have started the beta version rather than going full on. Give us your money, let's do this. But at the same time, they've 1 million downloads on the Play Store, so obviously there are some people willing to check something at it to give it a try, and then that gives Google, because Google loves to read data and analyze what people are doing and predict, that it gives them what they need to flesh out this platform. So,
good points, and I'm glad you brought up that Google doesn't always follow through with what they're doing. Like there's a website called killedbygoogle.com, and it's like a whole list of different softwares and things that just didn't get off the ground after they were basically killed after a few months.
Exactly, and like I'm huge, like every place I work, I set them up on G Suite. I had the Pixelbook. I got Google Home products, Google Nest products all over the house here. This is a Google Pixel 4 XL. I am a Stadia player. Like Google could put their logo on a tissue box and I'd buy it for $100. So like I am very familiar, and that was a lot of the skepticism from the Google lover community of, is this going to be another thing that we get invested in and then you throw to the curb? But they are very open and acknowledge without saying that, yes, they do that, but that won't be the case with Stadia. So, and they have a really good features that they're committed to rolling out, that I think that is where you'll see the more professional gamers, let's say, come over to the platform.
Sure. Erebus or Athicus, what do you guys think about the limited gaming library? Is that I know what your answer is going to be. You're obviously not very happy about that. What do you think?
Well, we could compare it to xCloud, which is in beta, closed beta, which will include all of the Game Pass games, which is well over 100 games. Mm-hmm. No questions asked.
As far as I know, it's actually going to include Xbox's entire library. I don't even think it's just Game Pass.
It certainly could be that as well. Comparing to xCloud at all, it doesn't look great for Stadia, but it's a good start.
Say it again.
Xbox been around for what feels like forever. I mean, at 28, it feels like Xbox always been around, whereas Stadia came out like yesterday, it feels like. So,
I guess my concern is, you are paying, like you said, you're paying $11 or whatever, $13 for a beta that has 50 games. Is pretty sad. I mean, if it was a beta that had 200 games, that'd be a little better. But the fact that xCloud, while closed beta, is free, 50 games doesn't sound like a whole lot, or 40 or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I agree. Google should have gone the closed beta route first, because for everybody on 9to5google.com, and that is my go-to source for everything Google. And that was the thing that it was like, you really promoted this to us. but it feels like we're just testing out the base level of the platform now. But you didn't tell us this until after we gave you like $250.
Yeah, so that's a bit misleading for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Erebus?
I have a lot of criticisms of Google Stadia that we haven't hit the subject for me yet. The number of games isn't the issue. I'm a big believer, big advocate for VR gaming, which is another controversial topic because a lot of people think that's not going to survive or prosper as despite I think it will, but there are people that think it won't. And part of the issue with them was that it was a lot of tech demos, a lot of limited games. It still is to a degree. I guess the differentiator though for VR is it's a mind-blowing, in my opinion, it's a mind-blowing experience. It's a completely different way to experience games. My issue with Stadia is, and I think Quasimodo's basically agreeing with us on this one, is that their rollout was just terrible. Like, I look at something like Epic Games, who are competing with Steam to, so Stadia is going up against Xbox and as a very established market. Epic Games is going up against Steam to try to become a game. What do they call those things? Game launcher or platform or whatever, where you launch your games through and buy your games through.
Yeah, client.
A client, yeah, that's the word. So Epic Games is doing it in a way where they're offering free games left, right, and center. They're doing all these crazy promotions. I see it all the time, like an ad, get this game for free, and then I launch up Epic Games and get the game for free. And Google is one of, if not the richest company in the world. I would have expected something more aggressive from them on a free delivery of games or services or something to that effect. I would have thought they'd do something as bold as offer 6 months of free games just to get people to use it, like something more aggressively on the pricing side. And I think especially with the limited number of games, they should have done that, because I think that would have enticed a lot more people to do that. But I don't think the limited games is a huge hindrance to their success overall, because like you guys said, they're going to add more games over time, and they'll eventually have. I don't think that's going to be the issue for them, is the number of games. I think that's a small little thing they have right now, but that's like any startup in terms of a new gaming thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to speak to our Canadian context, they are investing in creating like a development campus in Montreal to create Stadia exclusive games, and they're in the midst now of hiring and stuff for that, so that they can really turn up what they're offering on the platform. So hopefully in time it's a different conversation, but
yeah,
it's what it is now.
Definitely, yeah, and I don't think there's any disputing that. Yeah, Stadia is going to be good at some point. We don't know how long that's going to take, but even when it finally gets good, are Xbox and PlayStation going to be that much further ahead by then? Like, right? So it's hard to know at this point. Because you brought up Project xCloud earlier. Do you want to explain a little bit about that? What that is?
I actually just recently signed up for the beta. Hopefully they let me in, but that's essentially Google Stadia, but it comes packaged with what Kelthar said was possibly the entire Xbox or the entire Microsoft lineup of games. But yeah, just in comparisons from the free beta and the paid beta between xCloud and Stadia, currently the latency issues are about the same, but the xCloud, one, you get way more games with it, and then two, it seems to be better at lower internet packages. So I think they were saying Stadia is like, if you have a 35 meg or megabit down, you'll be fine. You can stream 4K. That didn't really end up that way. And then as far as the tests for xCloud, they were pretty low. Like, you could get the same latency and the same quality at like a 15 and 20 gigabit downs. So they were running better at the lower speeds. with
Okay.
the better games section, big game lineup, and a bunch of other stuff. So just quick comparisons, they're kind of slaughtering Stadia. If they released a free open beta, I think that would be a shit show.
Yeah. No, and I think from the research I was doing earlier, I think xCloud is going to have a paid subscription similar to Stadia, and I think it might actually even be a little bit more expensive than Stadia.
I think it was they were talking $16 or something.
Yeah, like it'll be like probably around 20 Canadian.
Yeah.
And like we said, you'll get access to the entire library of Xbox. But another thing they're doing is that they're allowing you to turn on your Xbox at home, and you can stream from your own personal Xbox and the games you already own for free to your devices. So that's pretty cool.
That's huge. That's insane. That's just game breaking as far as
So if you already own Red Dead Redemption 2 on your Xbox, you can literally go out to your buddy's house and play it on your phone or whatever, as long as your own Xbox is on at home for free. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited for xCloud personally. What else? Go ahead.
The one thing on xCloud, I'm just reading about it now because I didn't know much about it. Is it true that it doesn't have 4K?
No, they're not touting 4K, but you could, we could argue that Stadia doesn't really have 4K either. They're pretty much, except for I think at least one or two games that are actually 4K. It's just 1080p upscaled.
That's not my question. My question is Xbox going for 4K?
Nope.
No,
they're not.
I don't think they're advertising it as 4K. No.
I think that's stupid. See, you guys are Xbox fanboys, so I will fight you on this one because I'm not an Xbox fanboy at all. And so stats here: power and performance. PS4 Pro 4.2 GPU teraflops. The Xbox is going at the xCloud will be going at 6 teraflops, and Stadia is at 10.7 GPU. It looks like, from what I'm seeing, the Stadia stats are actually a lot better. So unless I'm missing something, that's just on a preliminary read. But
as far as the actual tests have gone, it's not working out that way. And I mean, you could still say that Stadia is 4K and everything else is, or xCloud is 1080. But if you just look at the quality, if you actually do the side by side comparisons, it's better on the xCloud. It looks better. And another thing they were doing is, other than doing the 1080p upscaling, they were also doing all their games on medium settings, not maximum settings.
Yeah, I know. But there's an argument to that too. I see. Can we shift into that topic, Kelthar, on the 4K?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the biggest criticisms of Stadia is their 4K support. So they touted themselves or advertised themselves as being a 4K service. And as Athric has said, there's a lot of controversy there. Games running on medium settings, games running at 1080p, games being upscaled, so not actually having real 4K, not utilizing the HDR that they're touting. So yes, again, advertising at its worst with Stadia, because that was a big selling point for them. However, Stadia has fired back at the developers and saying it's there. The 4K support is there. We have the ability to do it. We have the HDR support. We have the 4K support, but it's on the developers to do that with their games, with their system. So it's a little bit of a war between the two, which is never a good thing because you want the developers and Stadia to be cooperating. But I kind of side with Stadia on this one only because developers have been proven many, many times to be lazy and do lazy ports and lazy things with Switch, with all the different things that we play. We've seen it many, many times. I think we'd all agree there that they do lazy stuff. So I don't know if it's accurate, but Stadia is firing back to say that we have the technology. The developers are just not utilizing the technology. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if anybody else has a comment on that, but that's what I'm reading anyways.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true either. I mean, it's a little up in the air, he said, she said. My concern is that even if it's, they're saying they can do 4K and they're just, upscaling to make it work for now, the games are still running pretty crappy. Like even not at 4K, they're running really, really bad. massive lag spikes, massive issues with frame rates, massive issues with everything. So they say they have the technology, but even without using the technology, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I've seen a big issue that people are having is they can play decently well for about 30 minutes, and then the game starts to go to crap. Right?
Is this? Are we talking just about 4K? Because I mean, Quasimodo plays it all the time. He didn't seem to indicate he had many major issues, but I know he's not playing at 4K. But
yeah, and mainly I'm playing like through Chromecast Ultra, which is what Stadia says if you want the best end user experience, play through your Chromecast Ultra. Because I do find when I have played on Chrome, whether it be at work on lunch break or whatever, I will get some latency issues. But on my television with Chromecast Ultra, like, never really been a problem ever.
Sure. Yeah, and I've heard that too. Yeah, go ahead.
To your point, Kelthar, with the 30 minutes things going to crap, a lot of people were actually complaining that their Chromecasts were overheating.
Oh, I never heard about that.
So
yeah.
I don't know why or how that makes any sense, but that could be part of it. Is just that the Chromecasts aren't able. Some of the Chromecasts, maybe they're defective, but some of them aren't able to handle it.
I do remember reading that because like Google sent out like a brand new Chromecast to all the founders, and some of the founders were saying the one that they received just like wasn't working, and that it did, try out. But a couple months in, they extended it to all Chromecast Ultras. So the one I owned previously, I can now play Stadia on and have a hitch. But I do think early on some people were having issues with the ones that came with your Stadia founder kit.
Yeah. The issues though, I think Erebus was asking too, is this strictly for 4K? Because if Quasimodo, if you say you only play at 720p, is that right? Yeah. So if you're only playing at 720p, then it's not surprising really that you're not having any issues. But if you were to try, that's something you should probably test out at some point. Just try playing at 4K.
I am on the Stadia Reddit right now, and this is just my own experience, and I'm a heavy Reddit user, very very heavy Reddit user. And typically when I go on a subreddit, if it's on fire, like it usually will be on fire if the issues are as bad as you're saying they are, and it's not. Like the subreddit is very positive. Like I'm not seeing a lot of. There's a few, but I'm not seeing a lot of overwhelming complaints. Now I know they're biased, they're Stadia users, but if there's a game that's reviewed badly, or there's if you go on PC gaming and there's an issue, those types of things, you see it pretty quick. So I don't know. I would question. I'm not saying you're wrong. I would question the, I guess the numbers, like how many people are actually. I know you're saying, is it, when you were reading it, Athricus, was it a widespread issue for these people, or was this kind of,
It was. I would say it was a 50-50. I mean, obviously not everyone was complaining about it, and certainly they may have changed things over time, but that's just my most recent, the information I got at least.
Yeah, and I've heard similar things too, but yeah, like I said, I don't personally own it, and I've only fired up Destiny 2 like very quickly today, so I can't speak to that issue really. But yeah, if the Reddit's not raging about it, as Reddit often does, then yeah, maybe it's not as prevalent. Is it prevalent or prevalent? That's what I was trying to figure out the other day.
It's prevalent.
It's prevalent, yeah.
Because I've heard prevalent as well, and I was like, I just started.
What you're talking to, man.
What's that, Quasi?
I say prevalent.
You say prevalent, yeah. Because I heard that the other day, and I questioned everything.
The word prevail is prevail. Prevalent does not have AIL.
Oh, I think you just got kicked out.
So something just happened in Discord because all of you froze for me. Everything froze.
Really? Is he coming back?
For a good 30 seconds. I was just frozen in place. I was looking at the Twitch
weird.
streams. So
you're back, Quasimodo. Excellent.
But I was connected somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think that was your internet, because something happened to me too.
I'm starting to think that Stadia runs Discord at this point.
Oh,
yeah. I think it's kind of messing with your internet there.
Okay, so In the essence of time, can I get into what the problem is with Stadia? Because you haven't hit it yet.
I'd love to run through these for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Done.
Okay. The problem with Stadia and every streaming thing for gaming is the input lag. That is the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is, I have defended Stadia up to this point. I think I've tried to argue for it, and I do agree it's an amazing thing. If Stadia had no input lag or a lot less than it does, I'd be all over it. I'd be all over it. I'd have it. I'd have it right now. But I cannot play games with input lag. And everyone's like, well, competitive hardcore games only. No. If I'm playing anything with input lag, it doesn't matter if it's a single player game. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Scrabble with my grandmother online. It doesn't matter. I cannot have input lag. I have to have a very seamless, and I think it's unacceptable in today's world to have, with all the technology that we have, to concede on that just to have the conveniences of a Google Stadia or an xCloud or anything. I'm not just harping on Stadia. I'm talking about streaming in general, streaming games. I think that's where the industry is going to get killed, because the input lag, unless it doesn't matter.
Until the technology gets to a point. Until
it gets to a point. It doesn't have to be perfect either, because I've played on different MS monitors and stuff. But what is, I think Athricus might have the stats. What is the MS delay currently?
Oh, I have the stats.
Yeah, what is the MS delay currently on Stadia?
So I'll start with the average PC delay. Latency delay for PC is 40 milliseconds, between 25 and 40 milliseconds. The average Xbox is 80 milliseconds, and then the average Stadia is 150 milliseconds. So it's literally 3.5 times.
So that's the actual. That's not including screen delay or anything. That's just
including screen delay or anything. Yeah.
So if I have a 2 MS monitor, I'm just adding 2 MS to that total.
Adding that 2 MS, yeah.
So you're saying it's 40 for PC in most cases.
Yeah, 80 for Xbox.
So it's 3 times the delay.
3.5 times of PC.
3.5 times the delay.
What do you mean 80 for Xbox? What do you mean by that?
So Xbox, the standard delay for Xbox is actually significantly worse than PC.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't know if you have the Switch. I'm sure Switch is pretty high too.
Switch, yeah.
But Switch, because I've noticed it. I feel it when I'm playing it.
Okay.
He's not talking. He's talking, Calther, about the delay, like on the not the screen delay, just the
button to pixel.
But the system itself, like everybody would experience that, no matter what you have.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my biggest issue is the I just don't agree with the technology until it gets to a point where it's more like, if they get that number down to something that's, I know it's going to be higher than PC. It's not going to be 40, but at least get it to under 100.
Xbox. Get it to Xbox.
Get it to something that's a little bit less. And maybe they're working towards that. Maybe.
Yeah. And that goes back to one of my first points, right? Like with Game Pass, like I like to download a game. Yeah, it sucks because you got to wait. Well, unless you have Erebus's internet, you got to wait for a while to download a game that's multiple gigs. But once you have the game, you're good, right? And that's the way I would rather play, with a game that's perfect quality the way it was meant to be played. But a game that's pixelated and has a ton of latency, like you said, is in 2020 is unacceptable.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure Quasimodo has an argument to that.
Yeah, and I have more tolerance for it as well, right? Because like I've played Steam Link on my TV, and if I play a game that has a bit of lag, like whatever, just for the convenience aspect. But that's just something when I'm chilling. But it's not my primary gaming platform.
But the Steam Link is a device that's free on your phone, or it's like you can buy it for like $5 now.
Exactly.
Those devices, to just make that function instead of paying a monthly charge like for Stadia for.
Exactly.
What I would argue,
and that's good for games like if you're playing like a turn-based strategy game like XCOM or something like that, like where the lag really doesn't make that much of a difference.
Right.
But if the lag doesn't matter in a game like that, then yeah, it's tolerable. But yeah, if you're trying to play like Destiny 2 or something with that much lag, you can't.
Well, you're just not going to see hardcore, and not even hardcore, because I think it's a different category, like competitive gamers. Like you're never going to see competitive Call of Duty Warzone players, like the top players that you see online. They're not going to be on Stadia. because they're going for the least amount of delay as possible, so it doesn't go to that market. However, not to speak for Quasimodo, because he can certainly form his own argument, but that's us, and I don't know if input lag is the majority of the gaming market. I really don't. I don't know. I'm not sure. For me, it's like I can't do it. But I know not everybody is like that. So I don't know if the casual gamers prevail here or not on that topic.
Yeah. Go ahead, Quasimodo.
I would agree with our Erebus, and it really, to me, in 2020, I 100% agree with you. Like, it's not acceptable that that's the quality of streaming, especially given how massive Google's data networks are, that if you want to be the flagship gaming streaming platform, throw all your weight behind it. Like, stop half-assing it and give us what you told us last April you were going to give us. And, I think, until it gets to that point, it's going to keep a lot of people away.
Yeah. And I think you nailed it. Like, they need to throw all their chips in if they want this to work. If they want to compete, like Microsoft and Sony already have thrown all their chips in. That's what they do. But Google, if they want to compete, they can't be like, yeah, we're going to test this and see how it goes. We're just going to kind of trickle in. Like, they need to go for it and just throw the resources in. Yeah.
Two features that they're working on that I'd love to get your guys' opinions on. One is for co-op online, so that instead of just seeing your buddies on like a map or whatever, they're actually going to have like video squares so that you see what they see. I don't know if there's any benefit to that to like the more competitive gamer. And then the other thing is Google, also owning YouTube, is going to integrate Google or YouTube and Stadia heavily. So you could be in a moment in a game, hit the Google Assistant button, say, how do I beat this? And they'll take you to a YouTube tutorial on your screen to show you, kind of where you're stuck. But then as well, you can watch streamers on YouTube and they can paste a link in the chat, let's say, and you can join them right where they are in the game. That I think those things, which was something they advertised last spring, and there's no timeline for the rollout, but I wonder, you guys as competitive gamers, is there any like appeal in those features for you guys?
Yeah, I read about that as well. I didn't read about the Twitch part with joining a Twitch streamer, but I did read about if you're stuck on a certain level in a game, if you're doing like a campaign or something and you get stuck, you can just press a button and then a YouTube video will go to basically your exact location and know exactly where you are, and just to help you out. I think that's pretty cool, right? If you're depending on the game you're playing. Again, it depends on the kind of gamer you are. Like I talked about this last week, saying like I don't really like to use guides in games. I just like to try to figure stuff out myself, and last resort look up a guide. But the convenience of that, if I can just push a button and be like, okay, I've been stuck here for an hour, what the heck do I do? Then the video comes in and just quickly shows me what to do. Yeah, I think there's benefit to that. I think there's value there. What do you guys think about that?
There's certainly value in all of those things. Like I think there would be a lot of fun. But just like saying 4K 60 FPS, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I think that's, Google has shot themselves in the foot that way, where they didn't deliver on what they promised, and now they're constantly going to be trying to convince people that they are what they say they are.
Yeah, I think they would have done a lot better. Just be like, this is what we want. This is possible. Not as soon as it launches, you'll be playing 4K 60 FPS.
It goes to show how important framing is, right? If we go back to that Microsoft conference in May when they were saying we have exclusive gameplay reveals, and nothing was gameplay. It was all trailers and that was the backlash. But if they just said, yeah, we have a few third party games to show you, tune in, and the hype was severely less than what it was, no one would have cared. Like, it would have been fine. But it's all messaging, right? And if they're saying 4K 60 and you don't get 4K 60, of course people are going to be mad.
Well, it was the same thing like with a lot of the Google Assistant features. Like, the controller comes with the Google Assistant logo on it. It had no functionality for probably the first 3 or 4 months that it was out, until now you can press it and say, turn on Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on living room TV, and it'll do it. But again, I threw $250 odd at this. It wasn't until I got it that I realized it wasn't going to be a part of it.
Right. So that comes down to, I don't know, is false advertising a bit too harsh there, or what?
Yeah, it's kind of what you were saying on framing is so important. That's why I was trying to connect it to.
Yeah, definitely. No, for sure. We've touched on the game library. We've touched on it's advertised as 4K, but it's not. Yeah, and also saying, like, in order to access the 4K, you need the pro subscription. Otherwise, games are locked at 1080, but most of the games, it seems, are at 1080 anyway. So it's almost misleading with that as well. Yeah, is there any other points you guys want to bring up? That Africus, I see you nodding there, and your microphone is muted currently.
Sorry. Yeah, I definitely have one. It's one of my bigger issues, and that would be that you don't actually own your games. You are entirely reliant on the paid service. Not so much now you get the free service or whatever, but you're entirely reliant on your internet. If you're a single player gamer or whatever, you can't play single player. At least on Steam, Steam goes down, you can still play single player. Same with Xbox, you can still play the campaigns on whatever game you want. But if you buy a bunch of games for Stadia and then 5 years down the road, they're like, yeah, we give up with Stadia, you've invested a lot of money into something that's might not pan out.
Yeah, and to follow up on that with you, I agree, and that was, a lot of like the Google lovers, that was their hesitation as well, because we've seen in, Google Allo, I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, that was going to be, the iMessage competitor for Android, and that's really dead. Hangouts is pretty well dead at this point. And there's been so many things like that it was said, hey, is this just going to be another thing? What do we do for all the $80 games we end up buying? And Google, it just said, we're committing, like, we got this 10-year plan, so it is a bit of trust. It is a bit of a gamble, because you're right. Yeah, you don't own it outright. There's no way to play it without the Google Stadia data servers, and if they ever close that off, they're going to make a lot of people angry, and they'll never be able to enter the gaming conversation again. I would love to see like a offline feature come to life, or like similar to Netflix, where you can download content and watch it offline. It'd be great if I could continue my Tomb Raider story without being online. Like, I'm not playing with other players, like I'm not looking to invite other people in. It'd be great if that option eventually became available, but I guess right now they're really trying to figure out what it means to be a streaming gaming platform, that they're like, this is what we're exclusively offering right now, and it's another, we'll see down the road.
Yeah, I feel like it would be such an easy thing to do. Like, just when I buy the game, simply give me a key that I can download also just onto my PC.
So what do you mean by that? Like, but would that be affiliated with Stadia, or do you mean just like a generic key from the developer, like to use on Steam and stuff?
Anything like anything that give me a physical copy, or not a physical, but just something that I can have, and not even necessarily something I have to go through Steam or whatever, but just some way that I can actually even download the game from the Stadia servers and just have the game, so that I can play offline if I want to.
So you'd never own a digital game. If you read the terms of service of what you're buying on Steam or what you're buying on any of these services other than GOG, you don't own the game. They talk about all that. And when you hit that I agree button when you buy something, they're talking about how they own the game, they own the license, they own everything. They can revoke it at any time. It's you don't actually own it.
That is true.
I do get your point of it's a little bit different with Steam, because if Steam servers shut down, like you can't, like if you have a Fallout New Vegas DVD, or DVD, my God, or like, yeah, the game disc, you can't play it without a Steam account. So you have to log into Steam and get a Steam account to play it.
I'm pretty sure you can play offline if you have the game downloaded.
No.
I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Nope.
Sure you can go into the Steam game files and actually click the button and play
Steam?
offline.
Yes, you can. You can play games offline.
You can play games offline, but if Steam you do not own, when you get a digital copy of a game, you do not own that game. Read the TOC. You do not own the game. They do that with Nintendo too. With Nintendo Switch, the eShop, you don't own the game. They can revoke the license at any time. They have the same language that I'm sure Stadia does with all this stuff. The difference that I would agree with you guys on is that Stadia, if they're not allowing you to even download the game, and then they shut down their PC data, wherever their center where they're streaming all this stuff, then yes, we can't use it anymore at all. Zero. Like we can't, like it's completely gone. So I do agree with your point that there should be an option to download the game. But if it's through Stadia's, like if you can download a digital game through Stadia but still have to log into Stadia to use it and all that stuff, I mean, it's still the same problem, because if Stadia shuts down their stuff, they could, if they're assholes, restrict you from using your game.
Yeah, I just don't see why they can't like give you the game as well so that you can download it, and then if everything blows up, you have a copy of the game at that time that you could play offline.
Well, then it's getting a bit cross-platform. Like it's getting a bit, if they're trying, it's the same thing. Like if I'm getting something for Xbox, why don't they give me a PC copy? Like if they give me
well, because they can make money. Like if they can make more money, the developer can make more money if someone wants to get it for both. I mean, it's probably not that much. People probably don't buy Xbox and PC that often, but I find it to be different. Like you're just playing on their servers for one. Even if you had to choose, like when you buy the game, you choose, oh, hey, I want a key or a download thing for my PC or my Xbox or whatever.
Exactly, and I think it could work that way, maybe. But the appeal for the state, like for Netflix, for example, if I'm going out to the cabin, I download a bunch of stuff on Netflix. It's primarily streaming, but I download it so I can watch it on my iPad. It's a little bit weirder with Stadia because you can't, like the power is running through the stream, so it's not you can't just download it to your phone and then take your phone to the cabin and play the games at your leisure. Really, the only place you can play them is if you have a powerful enough PC to run the game or whatever. So it's just a bit of a weird. I see what you're saying, because it's very reliant on Google Stadia staying in operation, and you could easily lose that. But if they shut it down,
because if Steam ever was to shut down,
we get games like Madden and NHL and stuff where EA shuts down the servers, and then we can't do anything with the game that we bought, right? So. Yeah, it's a bit of a gray. I'm going to look more into that Steam thing, because I read the TOC. I've always thought I had to launch Steam to play a game, but you guys are saying I don't. So
I think you have to launch it to play any sort of online, and it is a pain in the ass to actually play it offline, like with no Steam.
Because that's the whole DRM free stuff, right? Like that's what they talk about, DRM.
Yeah.
Isn't that what that means?
As far as I know, you can still go into your game folder. Like the game is on your computer somewhere.
But you can turn your game on, so you can unplug your internet from your computer and just fire up that game with no connection at all.
Well, it's not even that, because that's a for sure, because you can even do that directly through Steam. I'm saying that even if you didn't have Steam installed on your computer and you had downloaded the game from Steam, you can download Steam, download the game, delete Steam, turn the internet off, and then go deep into the Steam folders and start the game.
Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that's the way it is, just from what I've read.
Because that was the whole appeal of GOG. Like everyone talks on GOG about it being DRM free, meaning that you can get all of their games do not require you to be online or connected to anything to play them.
Yeah.
That's their selling point. They market themselves as DRM free, and Steam is not DRM free. So maybe there's certain games with Steam that you can do that or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's something weird going on
But
there.
yeah, we can look that
Mm-hmm.
up. We'll update you guys next week on that one.
Yes, for sure. We're gonna have to wrap up the argument, or not argument, debate, I should say, shortly. So, like, is there any final thoughts about Stadia? And then I kind of want Quasimodo to do like his final pitch to try to convince us, or convince who, or at least make a case for what kind of gamer would best fit with Stadia. So, is there anything else? Any big points we missed, guys, that you want to throw in about cons or pros with Stadia? Athricus, anything else on your big list?
No, I mean, I guess reiterating my point, I feel it's a big risk investing in, or not so much a risk, but it's a big investment into a console that's objectively worse than other consoles.
Yeah, I think risk is fair. I think risk is a fair word.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got the 40 games and, yada yada, so
yeah,
that's my concern.
And I think that's my biggest concern too, right? Like, there's barely any games, you can't download them, you have to stream them, the input lag is terrible, it's advertised as 4K, you're not actually getting 4K, you need reliable, strong, stable internet, which Erebus argues most people have. I know a lot of people in the States don't, and especially those with data caps, like they are automatically out of the running for getting this. And Google has a history of shutting things down. Yeah, they say they're going to support Stadia, but like, I'm pretty sure they said that with lots of other things too. So
my point on the internet is more around that. I don't care if they're pushing the premium technology and it's the best of the best. VR is amazing, but it's a small group of people that play it because only a certain amount of people have a powerful enough computer to run it. But I'm still all over it because I'll spend the money and do what I can to play it because I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I would do the same thing for Stadia, and I think there's a lot of other people out there that would do the same thing. Even though, yes, the majority of people maybe they can't play it, but that's not Stadia's fault. That if they're running, I would rather they run things at 8K and the maximum and eat into everybody's internet if it means that it's a better overall delivery of their service, and people just have to figure out, I think people will find ways to pay for better internet or remove caps.
Yeah, I like that you're making the VR comparison there too, right? Because not everyone has it, but like the people that do, it's like, yeah, it's a huge barrier of entry, but it delivers, right?
Yeah, like I'm an early adopter. I consider myself somewhat an early adopter with technology. Like if I see something, I'll splurge, and my wife gets mad at me when I do it, but I will splurge and get it, and I'll buy the 1080 Ti like I did, or the HOTAS and all that different stuff, like all the different setups that I have to get the best that I can get. But like that, and I did not buy Stadia, and that's why, because I don't view Stadia as that premium experience. Mm-hmm. So it is a bit of a mismatch to your point, because if they're requiring all that internet usage and all that internet stuff, but their service is suboptimal, there's a mismatch there, because they're not offering the best service for those people that have all the the best internet and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's yet and not right now are like the biggest things when it comes to Stadia. It's like it's going to be really good, but it's just not the right time. I can't see why I would, and I know it's more for casual gamers, I guess, but I can't see why, if someone already has an Xbox or PlayStation, why they would ever consider going with a Stadia. But with that, I turn it over to you, Quasimodo. I want you to try to change our minds here.
Ooh.
What I would say, looking back on the history of like the rollout of Stadia, it was funny because more came to light about xCloud shortly after, and Stadia was coming in as, we're disrupting, this is unique, this is new, and then xCloud was like, hey, we're actually an already established gaming company. Here's our take on it. Probably going to be better. How about you join us? It was like, I don't know, like how, like that probably really undercut Stadia's opportunity to appeal to the competitive gamers. But I would say for anyone out there who maybe you've transitioned in life now and you're working professional, families, whatever, you don't have as much time for gaming, or financially you just can't invest in it anymore, that Stadia is a really good access point, because we all check money at different subscriptions. I pay for Disney Plus every month. Do I watch it all the time? No, but I love having it. And when I do, I appreciate that I have it. And as a casual gamer, I appreciate that the options there, that I can play high quality games like Red Dead Redemption 2, like Destiny, just by sitting down, picking up this controller and pressing a button and having it launch on my TV. So I think Stadia, I think, Kelthar, you framed it very well, that it's going to be great. It's just not there yet. If you are in that place in life where you're looking for a lower financial commitment / setup, Stadia, to me, would be a great route to go. And even I think it's good if you're somebody who maybe you're really into gaming and you have that buddy who isn't, but maybe would play here and there. Why not both of you hop on Stadia, even just the free edition, buy a game together. Maybe you got some Google Play money stashed away that you want to use towards it. It's a fun way to connect. But I do think for everyone, Stadia is worth keeping an eye on, especially as they work on these YouTube integrations and as they develop content out of this Montreal campus. Because, yeah, I think they're willing to fight and prove people wrong. And, they seem more invested in this than other things that they have released. Me, who is, I follow Google through everything, I actually find myself believing them in this case that they will invest in Stadia long term. And I'm excited to see what it becomes. For the casual gamer out there, and that's just looking for, a way to unwind, hands down, invest in Stadia. I bring my controller and my book bag. I did go to the office before COVID, and on lunch breaks, open up a Chrome window, good to go. I can play through a bit of Tomb Raider there while I'm on my lunch break, and I think that's fantastic. So I think it really depends on where you're at and how you feel about gaming. But I think Google is the most forward-thinking company in my mind, and we're always predicting what's to come and what people are going to like, and I think they have access to the data to know. And I think they're heading the right direction on this. And in a few years, I'm going to be very proud to have the founder badge next to my user while I'm playing all you got on Stadia.
Yeah. How much is Google paying you anyway? Like, are you wearing a Google shirt or hat right now? Or?
Honestly, I'm trying my best. I'm like, they haven't released the Pixel Buds in Canada yet, which is like their version of the AirPods, and it's available in the US. And I was like tweeting at them, like, guys, my birthday's coming. I got everything you have. Just send me a pair. Like, I don't care if they're not sanctioned in Canada yet. Like, give it to me. So I'm really hoping this takes off and I can get some endorsement of some kind.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I think you made a really strong case for it, for a certain type of gamer, right? You're not advocating that Stadia is here to replace the Xbox or PlayStation, at least not yet. It's good for casual gamers, like you said, if you just want to pick it up on lunch break, or if you're at home, you just want to unwind and play an hour of Tomb Raider here and there. Yeah, it's great for that, and it kind of appeals to me that way as well. The issue for me personally is just it's another subscription to add on to, like you said, there's Disney Plus, there's all sorts of subscriptions we have, because that's the kind of world we're moving into now, where you just pay subscriptions for seems like everything now, right? So adding another $11.99 to that is just, I don't know if that's something that's worth it for me. But like I said, if I didn't have an Xbox, I didn't have a PC, then yeah, the Stadia probably would be a platform that I would certainly consider. Do you guys have any points you want to make about that?
I think it's close. I think the Stadia is close, and it's really unfortunate the way they unrolled the marketing. I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I agree with Quasimodo that it's Google. Like, we can't forget the fact that this is Google. And yes, they abandoned projects and stuff, but he's right. They have committed a lot to this. They're sticking with it. They didn't abandon it, and they have a lot of resources. So I mean, if they can make it work, I mean, it could be a cash cow for them. It probably already is to some degree, but. I would counter you a little bit, Kelter, and I know we're concluding, so I don't want to keep debating going, but we've spent a lot of money on our Switches. We've spent a lot of money on the games with a Switch. We've talked about this in other streams. So the Stadia, like, yes, you're adding another subscription, but it's not a huge cost. Like, it's not a, like, I know, I think part of, at least what you've told me before, is you hate not owning stuff, as what Athricus was saying. So I think that's part of probably one of the reasons that you're so against it, I think, maybe. But the Switch is definitely, like, there's a big, like, if you factor in how much that costs per month when you're just looking at games and stuff, like, it adds up. Even though, like, you buy it and you own it and all that stuff, I get that, but it's hundreds of dollars. It's hundreds. So yeah. It's that's just my.
But you do own the games.
No. Well, you own the cartridges. Yeah, you buy physical.
If you buy a physical game, you own the game. Yes.
Yeah, you own the game. Yeah.
Athricus, anything you want to throw in?
He wrote a giant quote in the chat.
I know. I think that certainly pertains to what we're talking about here.
I liked the quote. Yeah, it's a quote from the second Batman movie. The Joker said, "Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying." And I just think that if Google had been a little more, laid back and said, 30 to 60 FPS at 720, then everyone would have been fine and loved them for sticking to the plan.
But my counter to that would be, if they were saying, yeah, we can come out and stream 30 FPS at 720p, people would be like, who cares? Like, that's not impressive, right? But if they come out saying 4K, that's how they draw people in, right?
I think they went a little overboard with that. I mean,
if they said the goal eventually was 4K, but right now you can start with 30 FPS, 720p.
Just give people the option. On the Reddit they showed that there's a thing called overtime or something they're doing with Stadia, like, where you can, like, put VSync on and, like, you can lower the MS dramatically. It's still terrible, but you can lower it. But if they had focused, like Athricus said, on 720, 30 FPS for the hardcore gamer and the input lag, they got it down to something in Xbox territory, and then said, but for the casual gamer or for an immersive experience, you can switch it between 720 all the way up to 4K. They could have made that awesome, because, like, the hardcore Counter-Strike players, most hardcore players play at 1080p. They don't play at 1440p or 4K, because even on their computers they play at 1080p because it's the best for technological reasons. There's a reason for them to play at that level. But yeah, like, if they had done a 30 FPS 720p thing with the flexibility built in to it, I think they could have sold it better.
Sure, fair enough. Any final points before we move on? I think we've made strong arguments for both sides for sure. No? All right. Yeah, Stadia, I'm interested to see where it goes, and I think we can all agree there. I think it's going to go in a positive direction, and I'm looking forward to where it goes for sure. Really quickly, because once again we've gone overtime, which is fine. You guys up for a quick trivia round?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, Quasimodo, I know you're this is your first time here, so I'll just go over it quickly. I'm going to ask a trivia question. It's what I've done the last few weeks. And how it's going to work is I'll ask the question, I'll list off the 4 multiple choice options. And if you do know the answer for sure, then I'll go to you last, just so you don't kind of spoil it for the other two guys. Okay? So I'm going to ask the question, I'll list out the options, and I'll go to each person, and we'll see how we do. So I think Athricus and Erebus, you both have 1 point each, I think. Am I right in saying that? I think you had one question right out of 3 or 4. I can't remember how many we've done now.
Yeah, there was 1 week all of us got it right, I think.
Yeah.
And then last
that
week...
that was the Pokemon one, I think.
Yes, I think we all got that one.
Yeah. I think that was the only time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, the question this week is, and to me, I knew this right away, and you guys might know it too. What was the first game ever showcased on the Stadia? So they had some conference or whatever, and they showed this one game. Okay. Was it Far Cry 5? Was it Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Was it Red Dead Redemption 2? Or was it Destiny 2? And I'll say this was showcased in 2018 for the first time. So again, what was the first game ever showed on the Stadia? Was it Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Destiny 2? Now, does anybody know the answer for sure? And again, I hope nobody's Googling this or looking at chat to see what's going on. I trust you guys. But does anyone know this answer for sure, 100%?
I think so.
Okay, so we'll go to you last. Erebus or Athricus, are you kind of...
I think I know what it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Okay. All right. Athricus, we'll start with you this time. What do you think the answer might be?
I can't. You said Red Dead. I don't think it's Red Dead. It was way too new of a game.
Now, all the Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Red Dead Redemption 2 all came out in 2018. Destiny 2, I believe, was 2017.
Yeah, I don't remember
PC.
hearing anything about... I don't think it was Red Dead. What was the other? Destiny...
So Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Destiny 2?
You really care about these points. I can see.
That's a good point. I'm wasting time. I'll go Destiny.
Destiny.
It's either Destiny or Assassin's Creed.
Your final answer is what?
Oh my God, I'll do Destiny.
Destiny 2. Erebus.
Yeah, I was stuck between those two as well, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Destiny. I'm pretty sure the trailers that I saw when I was watching a couple years back was Destiny, but I think it's between those two. But
So you lock
I'll
it
go
in
with Destiny as well. Yeah, I'll lock in Destiny as well.
Quasimodo.
I think it's Destiny as well. Destiny 2 has been kind of Stadia's flagship, and it's the one game that's been available on Pro since launch. So I think it is Destiny 2.
Okay. Answers are locked in, and the answer is actually Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the very first game showcased through the streaming technology, I guess, at showing Assassin's Creed Odyssey gameplay. So yeah, like I said, like you said, Destiny 2 is one of their flagship things that they have, like to kind of showcase the system and all that, but it wasn't the first one that was actually shown. So yeah,
cool.
Stumped again, and that was one I quickly found right before the show. I was scrambling to find a question.
That was a good one. Got us.
Yeah, perfect.
You even got the hardcore Stadia gamer.
I know. This is great. Now I'm afraid I got it wrong. I'm gonna have to double check this after the show, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna look it up after this because I would have swore it was Destiny, but yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why you're not getting that Google endorsement, Quasimodo, because you're supposed to get these right. Yeah, they're watching this right now. Right on. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for us. So that was our debate on Google Stadia, and hopefully we put the debate to rest as much as we could. As for us, you can always, as I said at the top of the show, you can tune in on twitch.tv/inevercastforthis at 9 p.m. Eastern time on every Monday, every week. And we're also on Twitter. You can follow me at Kelthar, and you can follow the show at I Never Cast for This. Man, it is late and I'm starting to stutter here. And we're also on Facebook /I Never Cast for This, and we're on all major podcasting platforms. And we have Discord. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, so you can go on twitch.tv, and our link to our Discord channel is there if you'd like to join our Discord community. We'll just do final send-offs here. Erebus, do you want to plug anything before you go?
Yeah, twitch.tv/Erebus. Haven't streamed in over 5 years now. Or no, it's almost 5 years, not quite 5 years. Noticed I lost a follower from last week. Ridiculous. Don't know who that was, but you can, you know what I'm going to say. 341 followers. And I did get about 5 or 6 views on my Drunk Erebus Falls Asleep video, the only video on my channel from 5 years ago. Hoping to get that up to probably 120 for next week. So tune into that video if you have nothing else to do at all.
Literally nothing.
Thank you.
All right. Africus.
Nothing. I would really love to start streaming, but I don't have the time. So
nice.
We'll see.
That would be cool, man. Well, if you do, let us know, and we'll plug you on the show for sure.
I will.
And Quasimodo, do you have anything you want to plug or share before we head off?
Yes. I often talk about Stadia, 925google.com. If anyone's on there, feel free to say hi. But also friend me on Stadia. It's Quasimodo, and you can just look for that founder badge, and you'll know it's me.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. And you could see Quasimodo just flexing there in the background. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, guys, as usual, for being here. And Quasimodo, thanks for being a newcomer, first timer on the show. And you did an awesome job. We'd love to have you back if you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. And maybe we can have this exact conversation maybe even a year from now to see do an update on where Stadia is and if it's come a positive way or not. So we'll see. For sure. All right. And that's it for us, guys. So once again, we'll see you next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. See you next week.